Time for an update with the Mayor of Brooklyn Center, April Graves, joining us. Welcome once again.
Thank you for having me.
A lot of activity as we record this happening in the city. The first is, let's talk about policing changes and some recent council action to table this item. Give us a little background.
So we had received some recommendations from the implementation committee around consent searches as well as pretextual traffic stops. The staff was then able to give us some additional feedback and recommendations. There wasn't a full consensus of staff nor council, so we've tabled it to have some deeper discussions with the police department as well as with the council members and potentially community members, and come back to the conversation. All
right, more updates to come on that. Fresh off a meeting this morning with Highway 252. Again, bring us up to date there in some of those discussions.
So we had just been in a period of public comment where MnDOT was collecting public comment from community. A lot of the things that came up were around racial, social, environmental justice along the 252 corridor, and presenting alternatives as part of the environmental impact statement that were not necessarily included in the MnDOT's original plan. So hearing back from MnDOT that they had not added back in those alternatives, community members and council members are continuing to push back and ask that we have a more robust alternatives to consider as part of that process.
Let's hop ahead to the budget process, a busy process for the city at this time of the year. Where are we now and what's to come?
Well, recently the council did pass our preliminary budget levy. That means that the budget levy will not go any higher than 8.5. There's still more discussions to have with the council and the staff over the next few weeks before we set the final budget in early December.
We have talked in past updates about strategic planning. That process continues on. There was a recent presentation. Tell us about that.
That's right. We continue to do things a little bit differently with our strategic planning this year, inviting businesses and community members to be part of that process with staff and council. And recently the council was presented with those strategic priorities that we made in collaboration and coordination, and have accepted that presentation. Now the staff is tasked with, how do they implement these priorities? What are the outcomes? What are the steps, activities, and benchmarks?
Final note, you were recently part of a panel on racial healing and justice. Tell us
yes, it was a very, very beautiful event, a collaboration of Brooklyn Park, Brooklyn Center, the first in a series, in Osseo School District, the first in a series of several different events around racial justice and racial healing. I was able to speak on a panel with Dr. Salam from the Central Park 5, as well as a Judge Cunningham from Anoka County, and had a really robust conversation moderated by Don Stevens. So be on the lookout for some additional opportunities to come out and continue to build understanding around racial healing and justice.
Mayor, thanks for taking a few minutes of your busy schedule to be with us as well.
Always a pleasure. Thank you, Dave.
Learn more about The Connection at ccxmedia.org and follow us on social media.